This is about the presence that is felt when someone is around you or their experience of you. That is what your aura is. Hey lovelies, welcome back to another episode. I am Maraya J, and this is Womanly Essence. Welcome to my space. I create content about womanhood, internal work, and becoming the best version of you. So if you are a woman on her journey of becoming and you want to hear and see more of that kind of content, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And also don't forget to hit that bell so you can get more notifications of all of our videos. The title of this episode is The Aura of a Woman of Value, the Impact, and How to Strengthen It. So we're going to talk a little bit about the aura that you carry and how you can make this more positive and impactful to yourself, of course, and those around you. So the first part of this, I want to talk about understanding your aura. Let's talk about what we mean by aura first and foremost. And y'all already know I always keep some notes on me so I can give y'all a bit better explanation and understanding of what I'm trying to say. An aura is the unique energy that a person radiates, reflecting their inner qualities and state of being. By definition, I will say it is a distinctive atmosphere or quality that seems to surround and be generated by a person, thing, or place. Some people would describe an aura to be a strong energy. Some people will say that it is the vibe that you give off. Some people would say that it's like a ray of confidence that you carry. But I believe that we all can agree that an aura is something that you feel and experience without a single word having to be uttered. When somebody walks into a room, you can feel their aura, their energy, the feeling that they leave in the atmosphere, even when they leave the room. That's your aura. I want to make a note to say that everyone has an aura. Some people have strong auras that you feel, like I said, as soon as they come into the room. And then some people's auras are on mute. There is a clear distinction in auras, and there are two specific ones that I want to talk about. I have named them to be in high setting aura or a low setting aura. To give a little bit of context of what I'm trying to say, and a high setting aura is someone that knows who they are, they're confident in it, and they carry an aromatic perfume. I do want to make a note to say this though. I think people confuse aura sometimes for being extrovert. I think that they look at, someone's aura being strong means they're extroverted, and that is not true. Someone can very much so be introverted, ambivert, and they have a strong aura, or they have a certain aura that they leave. This is not about how outspoken and outgoing you are. This is about the presence that is felt when someone is around you or their experience of you. That is what your aura is. The second part of this, the second characteristic, I guess I can say, or however you want to say it, is a low setting aura. The low setting aura is, I would describe as someone who has not found themselves or someone who is trying to emulate someone else. So I'm not trying to say that in a negative or mean girl way. I'm really saying it most times people who has low setting auras, because your aura is based off of you, right? Your aura is based off of your energy, your presence. It's all just intertwined and a feeling or an experience of who you are. So if someone is kind of trying to emulate another person or be like another person or express themselves as someone else would express themselves, you're not really getting the true authentic version of them. You're getting this made up version of them. For example, people like Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, just to name some people, TV shows, artists, social media, all these different things and places, we see people and we see how they carry themselves. We see how they talk, how they act, what they do. You don't know any of these women. I do want to know to say, we don't know any of these women personally. We don't know how they are in their everyday life. We don't know what they do when they wake up in the morning. We don't know who they talk to at night. We don't know how they are with family. We don't know how they are when they are suffering a loss, when they are enduring any kind of pain. We don't know them. So we only see them in their artistry. We only see them in their work. We only see them expressing this different side of them where they go deep and passionate into who they are as artists or who they are as celebrities. And if you are walking around and trying to take on those same attributes and characteristics or trying to emulate that person, you're basically being like a mini me version of them. And we're missing out on experiencing you. Because we're just seeing another version of them walking around. I want to make it a note also to say that there's a huge difference between inspiration and emulating or replicating someone. It's okay to be inspired by somebody. It's okay to see someone do something or, be so enamored by someone's gift or talent or their work and really be inspired. But make sure that the inspiration is actually inspiration and it's not you taking on that way. I remember when I was younger and there were like a lot of these like TV shows coming out, like for example, like Bad Girls Club and Love and Hip Hop and like all these shows that were coming on. And being young and kind of seeing some of this stuff and seeing how like expressive people would be and how they would act. And I remember my mom and my brother always saying to me like, you need to stop watching that. You need to stop watching that because you're going to start acting like them. And it was true. As more and more I would watch that, the more I started like fake, just acting like that. Now I was young. I was very young when I seen that. And actually I stopped watching it, but I was really young watching that. And seeing that and being so impressionable at that age and being like, wow, like look at them, look how they're acting, look at what they're doing. It's easy for you to take on that way. Now, being that young, I'm obviously still learning myself. Things like that can be very impressionable. It can be very impactful to you. And that will cause you to take on characteristics or take on ways that you see because we soak up everything at a young age. And seeing that, I could have walked around and continued to be like that, and I would just be a replication of what I saw. Versus, like my mom advising me to like stop watching that. I was able to take the time to really learn me, learn myself, and now I am who I am today. But that's just an example of replicating something that you see versus being inspired. Well, you can see somebody on like a celebrity that you see on TV or like a movie star, an actress or something, and you can see maybe that they do their hair a certain way, they talk a certain way, they act a certain way. You can say, wow, like they're very captivating, or wow, they're really kind, or they're really sweet, and you're inspired by how they choose to carry themselves, and you're like, okay, I want to be like that. I want to be somebody who is really kind. I want to be somebody who is really captivating. And you begin to really learn and cultivate yourself. That is inspiration. And there is a huge difference. Even deeper, I feel like this is seen so much because there's a lack of self-acceptance and knowing who you are and being confident in that. I think that people have skipped that step of sitting with themselves and really accepting themselves. And when people don't take the time to sit in who they are and accept themselves, whether anybody else likes it or not, you never really get to the place of being your full self. You never really get to the place of having your true identity because you skip that step. It is so rare to find people who are so bold, comfortable, and confident in just who they are, just being themselves. Everyone is walking around trying to look, act, and be a part. Everyone right now in this time is trying to follow a certain aesthetic and a certain look and appearance. But the boldness and the confidence that comes with like you not caring and just fully being you is so rare to find, and it's such a beautiful treasure to find within yourself. I do want us, to consider how you would like to show up in the world. And I want us to go over them, and I want to, give you an idea of some values to consider when it comes to just really accepting and being who you are in your everyday. The first one I'm going to say is being graceful and in your confidence. Really just accepting like who you are and how you show up, and like just resting in that. It doesn't take having to force it and push it out and do the most, but just resting in that, because everywhere you go, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not, you are going to exude a certain kind of energy everywhere you go, whether that be, oh, you're someone that kind of is like more quiet or timid and reserved, or whether it be, oh wow, you have this strong presence that feels really warm, it feels really inviting, or you have this exciting, fiery presence. You're going to have a presence everywhere you go, but rest in that because that is you. Two, I would say, is authenticity. So someone who is genuine in her actions and her words, and she is reflecting her true self. So this is like a big part of understanding yourself, and this is a huge part of what directly plays into your aura because it's authentic to you. I do also want to make a note to say a lot of people don't recognize that you can have a strong aura that is positive or negative. People can experience you in a way based off of what's in you. You can't fake it. It's gonna be on you. Period. So really truly accepting, understanding yourself and being true to yourself, people get to experience a side of you that you have worked on and strengthened. Three, I would say, is emotional poise and maturity. This is another value that I would consider to add into my everyday life. So even in challenging situations, this kind of woman maintains emotional balance and composure, so showcasing her resilience and her strength. Have you ever seen someone where maybe they were in like a grocery store or like just like a public place, a public setting, and maybe someone was starting to have like a panic attack, or maybe a child was starting to have like a tantrum and like the mom was struggling, or kind of someone maybe was like having some kind of medical emergency, and there was somebody in the crowd who was able to calm the situation, maybe get an ambulance or police to come. They were able to help that person through it, and they were able to keep themselves calm and poised the whole time. That is someone who has an understanding of their emotional regulation. They know how to regulate themselves. They know how to push through a tough time or a rocky or scary time. Having that really reflects on the outside of you. People feel and experience you in a different way when you have that level of emotional maturity and intelligence. Number four is respect and courtesy. So a woman with self-worth allows her to be genuinely kind, compassionate, treating others with respect and empathy. So obviously empathy is something that someone carries, but it's also something that you could feel and experience from a person, just maybe in simple conversation. Them caring, if you're having a conversation with someone and they say, oh, like, wow, like I'm kind of going through this, and they like really express a genuine, like, wow, I really feel for you, I hope everything works out. You can feel the authenticity in that. That is someone who's expressing or exuding empathy because they understand that sometimes times are hard and sometimes we go through things, but things will work out for you, and they're expressing their understanding of that and wishing you well. You can feel the truth and authenticity in that. And not even just that, but things such as when someone's out at a restaurant, how kind you are to the waiter or waitress. When you are out in a public setting and there's like a lot of commotion, how courteous you are to allow people to go, or to say excuse me, or just be thoughtful about the people around you. Having basic respect and human decency speaks a lot to the core of who you are, and that is something that you can feel and radiate off a person. So now let's dive a little bit deeper. We have went into what the aura is, but now we want to talk about the impact of this aura. And this is just expressing how influential your presence can be in various aspects of life. So one, building strong relationships. Your authenticity and kindness can help form deep and meaningful relationships. People feel valued and understood around you. You draw people to you, and people are truly interested to know and be around you and know who you are. I would say when it comes to building relationships, this is all, speaking in terms of your aura, that's all about attracting people. When you have an aura that makes people feel really good, or makes them feel interested, you draw them to you. And you have people that really want to either just be around you, know you, talk to you. Like, it just comes natural. If you're a person where you've ever been somewhere and like people just naturally come to you and just start talking to you, it could be something random. It's probably because you have an aura that is like open and inviting and it feels warm. If you are somewhere and someone asks you for a favor, now most time if people are out and about and they're around people that they don't know and they ask a random person for a favor, most times they're looking for somebody who seems or appears to be kind, or something about them just feels right to go to that person. And if people have done that to you, you probably have a warm or inviting aura as well. So because of that, you're going to have people who are drawn to want to get to know you. You're going to have people who are drawn to want to be around you and talk to you and just kind of pick your brain and ask you questions. But with this, I will say you need to be very careful and selective. Everyone should not be invited and embraced into your space, into your life, because there are some people who are leeches and vultures, and everyone does not have your best interest. Some people have the interest of themselves, and if they feel good and they enjoy being around you. Some people have a certain vendetta where they are trying to get something out of an experience with you. So just be selective when it comes to drawing people, but it is okay for people to naturally be drawn to you. You be able to vet out these relationships and figure out, okay, like I like this person too, or I enjoy this person's presence too. Two is inspiring confidence in others. So your self-assurance and self-love and confidence inspires confidence in those around you. Having this impact, you have the ability to encourage others to reflect and help them embrace their own strength. So just to kind of make this in plain terms, you being you makes it safe for others to accept themselves. You being true to yourself and just being you inspire others to be themselves. Maybe you're a goofy person and you're okay expressing that. Some people may feel like, oh, like you kind of need to tone it down or be more like this. She's like, no, this is me. I'm a goofy person, so I'm gonna laugh and be a little silly because that's who I am. That encourages other people to feel like, wow, like I'm the same way. Now this person has the encouragement to open themselves up a little bit more when they're around their friends, their family, or just in different settings. They feel a bit more comfortable because they saw you be comfortable just being your goofy self. Or maybe you spoke up in a meeting and you didn't just say yes and go with whatever was said. You spoke up and said your opinion, and like, wow, somebody saw you and was like, man, this girl, like, she did not hold back. She said her full thought, and it actually changed the policy, or it changed the vote, or it changed what we're going to do. That inspired me to speak out, because I always have thoughts of different ways of doing things and I always see a better way, but I don't know, I didn't feel confident that my voice would be heard. You being you inspires other people to be themselves. You being you inspires other people to open up and allow who they are to truly shine. Three is creating a positive environment. So I would like to describe this as nurturing your orbit. Your nurturing presence creates a supportive and uplifting atmosphere, whether it be at home, at work, social settings, around families, at school, with whoever and wherever. Number four is fostering mutual respect. So when you set healthy boundaries and you show self-respect, you command respect from other people, and you also make sure that your relationships are mutually beneficial, nurturing, and respectful across the board. This is so important because you are able to protect your aura, but there also is something that you give off that says like, hey, I am very confident because of the respect and love I have for myself. So people are not going to go so far, or you're going to make, and you should make sure that the people around you are not people who are going to test how far you're willing to go. You don't need that kind of energy. So that goes back to just protecting your aura. Five is unintentional inspiration, influence, and mentoring. So what do I mean by this? Because that sounds like a lot. Your qualities, your actions, your decisions make you a natural role model. This helps guide and inspire others around you. You become like a blueprint to your audience of people who watch and admire you. And honestly, a lot of times you may not even realize or recognize that you have an audience of people who watch or admire you, but you literally map out a blueprint because of this. this takes me back to a time where I remember I distinctively realized the influence and the impact of my own aura. So when I was in high school, I created a club called Classic Club. How did this come about? Just to give a little bit of context, when I was younger, there was my church background. I won't get on to the specifics, but my church background was very heavy on, your the way you dress, the way you present yourself, the way you act, walk, talk, and operate. That is a sign of your salvation, and that is a sign of the fruits that you carry. And so one of those things that we at that time, the church we were at, we could not wear pants. We had to wear skirts. And me being young, saved, freshly knowing God, I'm like, okay, this is what we have to do. So I didn't want to look homey because I was at that time, I went through a lot of transition in my youth. And at that particular time, I really wasn't a skirt girl. I was more to like jeans and tennis shoes. I just really wasn't big on that. I wasn't at the space where I was finding like my style and all of that. But I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I don't want to look homey. I don't want to look old. Like I want to look cute. And so being at school and having to wear skirts every day, I was finding different ways to incorporate style that spoke to me and made me feel good. So I remember going and talking to my mom and having her order. I can't remember the name of these like neckties, like the neck tabs. They're almost like the ones that the Girl Scouts. I'm going to try to like insert a photo, but like they're like the ones that the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts wear, where they're like they come around your neck and they like cross. They cross here, and like you can snap it in the middle. I don't know. I cannot remember the name for the life of me. I used to order those all the time. I will wear those. I will wear scarves. I will wear sweaters. I will wear blazers. I even started wearing like heels. I really got into heels. I loved heels. I started wearing heels to school. All kind of stuff I was doing. My mom was really big on making sure that we looked good and presentable. So mom always did our hair. She was amazing. We kept our hair looking good. Me and my sisters kept our hair looking good. Always looked well. And this is just something that I really like poured into, because I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I want to look and feel good. I don't want to feel homey. So I started to notice that, a lot of the girls at school started asking me like, where'd you get this? And where'd you get that? They used to ask me about, like, I used to wear pencil skirts. And they would ask me like, where'd you get your pencil skirt? They would ask me, where'd you get your neck tab? And oh, like, and I would tell them like, this is where I got this is where I got that. So they started going and buying it and coming to school and being like, hey, how does this look? And I would tell them like, it looks good. And I would help them like fix it up and put on their tabs and fix their skirts and their blade, all that stuff I started doing. So I started to get more and more questions. And this led me to being like, okay, let me just try to answer these questions all at one time. I went to the school administration like, hey, can I use this conference room after school just to talk to these girls, because they have so many questions and I can't answer everybody at once. They approved it, met at the school with all these girls, and they would ask me all these questions. I was telling them everything as much as what I knew. From there, it just kind of started to be something that we regularly wanted to do, which was just like meeting up and just talking. So started to do that. And then I was like, why don't we just like kind of make this like a little club? Went from there to making it a club, went to the school board, got it approved. Now I have a club. And then I talked a lot about your appearance and what you wear and stuff like that, and kind of like why I did certain things. This impacted a lot of people. So I started a day on Wednesdays that was called Classic Wednesdays, and everybody, that was in this club would dress up. Well, it started coming from everybody that was in the club dressing up to all the students started to doing it. And then from all the students doing it to all the administration doing it. And it just grew. And there would be everybody wearing like suits and ties and dresses and blazers and just like all this business attire. And it really promoted a conversation about, presenting yourself in different settings. We started doing, I think like job fairs, like just so much grew out of simply just showing up and being myself, simply showing up and being just wearing something just because I wanted to feel good, and being okay with being judged, being okay with being talked about, being okay with somebody not agreeing, somebody saying I'm doing too much. I didn't care, because I'm like, if you want to look basic, that's on you. That's my mindset. I want to be cute. And I did what I wanted to do. I did what felt good to me. I did what felt right and true to me. And all those people that had negative things to say ended up not long after being some of the very ones who were involved in these classic days and dressing up and asking questions, because I was not afraid to stand and be myself. And that spoke to the strength and the confidence in my own aura, being fully okay with being my authentic self. And I think that a lot of people need to really connect with being okay with sitting and accepting who you are. Because don't get me wrong, there are people that were talking about me wearing heels because we had steps in my school and we had to go up and down those steps to get to classes. But I didn't care. I felt comfortable in it. It didn't matter if anybody else didn't feel comfortable. I did. There were even teachers that had negative things to say. But the impact that came from that, just being comfortable to be me and having that aura of, I don't care, this is who I am, confidence, it struck a chord across the school, and it was able to influence and be a model. I was able to be a mentor, and they were able to be mentors, and they were able to be mentors, because even after I graduated and left, there were still people who continued this club. And I don't know if it's continued now, it might not be, but at the time I just know it continued, and people were still doing this because they were so impacted by somebody's decision just to be comfortable in their own skin. So the next part, I know we've been waiting on this. We've talked about what an aura actually is. We've talked about the impact of it. Now it is, how do I strengthen this? How do I do this? How do I cultivate it? How do I really captivate who I am and allow it to radiate off of me? Like, what do I do? So, of course, I always keep some notes on me, and I always have these notes for y'all. So I wrote a few notes of some things that you could do that will help you strengthen your aura. If you feel like your aura is on mute, if you feel like your aura is on a low setting, if you feel like you are emulating and replicating other people, if you feel like you have just not come to the space of really accepting your own self and standing true and solid in you, here are some things that you can do that will help you strengthen it, that will help you build it, that will help you recognize it, and just like develop this person that you want to be developed, how you want to show up in rooms. So, number one, I'm going to say is practice self-care. Now, self-care is something that you're going to hear me regularly speak about. I'm always talking about self-care because this is such a gateway to transforming yourself. It's such a gateway to really like elevating and growing. All these things that you see, the external really starts from internal, and self-care is the basis, I would say, foundation to that. So prioritizing your well-being through regular self-care routines, including physical health, mental wellness, emotional balance, doing what makes you feel good. And I cannot stress that enough, making sure that it is what makes you feel good. Not the things that you've seen, not things that you recognize makes other people feel good, but truly what makes you feel good. Whatever that is, really start to do that as a form of self-care. 2 is embracing your authentic self. So being you, learning yourself, studying yourself, being solid and sure on who you are. This takes self-work and acceptance and comfortability in you, regardless of what anyone says, how they try to judge you, how they might talk about you. Being you definitely can come with backlash and judgment for sure, because really the main reason being some people are just not comfortable in their own skin. Some people haven't gotten to the place of really accepting themselves and seeing you be you and be different, or seeing you be so strong on something that speaks to you. Is kind of like it, for some people it either inspires them or it lights a fire under them. It kind of may cause an irritation, but that irritation is really just because they have not come to this space of really becoming one and understanding their true authentic self. So you doing it and you being bold in it, it's going to irritate some people and it's going to cause judgment and backlash. But do not allow that to deter you. Do not allow that to stop you. Do not allow that to make you retreat, because that's a lot of times what happens when we get judged or talked about by doing a certain thing or being a certain way. We shell up, we retreat, we shut down, and we kind of try to figure out how to be the person that everybody would love and accept. But no matter what you do, someone's going to judge it. Just if you're quiet, someone's going to have something to say. So you might as well be comfortable in just being yourself. Number 3 is cultivate emotional intelligence. So work on understanding and managing your emotions. This will help you stay poised and grateful and empathetic in all situations. This helps you stay grounded and not take everything personal or to heart, and also to not be easily swayed. So just make sure that you strengthen your emotional understanding and intelligence, strengthen your empathy, strengthen your ability to understand and put yourself in people's shoes, maybe not literally, but figuratively, and maybe see the other side of maybe how someone's feeling. This brings this changes you in a different way. Just like when we see people who are in different countries or overseas who are going through things in their different their countries, they're going through things that we might not be going through, and you are able to look at them and empathize with, wow, like if I were to be going through that, this is how I would feel. If I were to be in their shoes, this is probably how I would be feeling. And because of that, you have a care that you have grown and built with, which does what? It inspires you, and inspires you to speak, and inspires you to share things, and inspires you to take a stand or have an opinion about what you see someone else going through. So when you strengthen this and you really, really hone in on your ability to be empathetic, your ability to understand your emotions in someone else's, that adds another layer to who you are. Also, I would say with this, watch your attitude and how you treat others. A lot of people don't accept that or realize that your aura is not just a positive, bubbly, beautiful thing. Some people have a really negative, nasty aura. There are some people who walk into a room and it's like people get irritated, people get annoyed, people get anxious, people are like ready to go because it's just like this energy that you bring. Maybe because of your rapport, maybe because of how you carry and conduct yourself, you can give off a negative energy or aura to people and maybe not even realize it, or maybe not care. But watch how you treat people, watch how you talk to people, watch how you interact with people on a regular basis, watch how you handle people, because that is going to reflect and radiate off of you, just like a positive attitude and spirit is going to reflect off of you. Number 4 is respect yourself and set healthy boundaries. Know your limits and communicate them when needed. So don't let anyone get over on you and use you how they want to use you. And this is just going to make sure that you're respected and that your relationships stay healthy and they stay clear. And this also goes with making sure that you vet the right people out and that you have the right kind of community around you so that they aren't triggering or provoking you, or they're not people that you have to always side eye and question and look at funny. Like, if someone does something that maybe you really don't like that much, you can still trust the character of who they are, but question maybe why they might have made a certain decision or did a certain thing, but you know who they are, So make sure that you vet these people. An example of this in setting like some boundaries would be and showing respect to yourself. Let's say that you have a certain time that you work out, or you have a certain day that you go to church, and there's people that are trying to like either hang out with you, they're trying to come over, they're trying to do something, and this is like a priority for you. This is really important. Maybe you need this therapy session because you're going through something pretty serious right now. Maybe your faith in God is super important to you. Maybe I don't know, whatever it is really, really important to you. And this is something that you have chosen to prioritize. Well, setting a boundary would be, hey, like I cannot compromise this time, but I will give an option of maybe another time, a later time, a different day. But I'm not going to compromise this time because this is important to me and I value this. This showing respect for yourself and also setting a boundary, and the people in your corner in your life will always respect that. Number 5 is be curious and open to learning, growing, enhancing your confidence, and keeping your mind sharp. So always be open to being a student. As we talked about the last video, a woman of value is someone who is always a student. She's always learning because this is the foundation of her growth and her cultivation as a woman. So always be curious, because your curiosity breeds adventurousness, if that's a word. It breeds you being adventurous. It breeds you being open-minded, outgoing. That nurtures that, and that is definitely something that you carry in your aura. Number 6 would be to stay connected, building and maintaining meaningful relationships, surrounding yourself with supportive and positive people who uplift you. So, staying in connection, not pulling yourself away or retreating. Like we were kind of talking about earlier, when you get certain judgment or backlash, some people choose to retreat and pull themselves away, but standing firm and bold in who you are allows you to stay connected, and that also connection also allows you to continue to learn, to gain, to take from your community as you pour and as you give and as you inspire at the same time. So, just to sum up, remember to be you. The aura that you give off directly speaks to who you are, your characteristics, your qualities, and so many other things. The more confident you are, the more you accept yourself, the more you will shine and radiate and impact those around you, whether you expect to or not. You will be impactful. Because just as much as we see people trying to emulate other people, many people love the authenticity of someone who is okay and comfortable and confident being bold in who they are. Someone who can just be themselves. There are many people today, even if you look at a lot of celebrities, a lot of them are different. The way they express themselves is very different. And they have a lot of haters, but they also have a lot of people that are like, wow, like I love how they are just them. They don't care, like they are comfortable just being who they are. People love authenticity. And not that it's about people, because it's not about people at all. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It really matters what you think and what you feel about yourself at the end of the day, because you have to go home with you at night. You have to live with you. You have to be in your body and really take care of you. So regardless of what anybody else feels and thinks, you at the end of the day have to love and be happy with you. But it is nice to be able to impact people in a positive way. When you come in contact with others, when you're in different rooms and settings, you can be impactful in a positive way, in ways that you don't think, just by being comfortable and confident in you. Whoever that is, accept her and be her regardless of who has anything to say or not. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen and learn and sit with me and take notes and listen to my many number down notes that I made for you all. I really hope that you found this video helpful, and I really hope that you can, add this into you really strengthening people's experience of you, how you feel when you come into certain rooms and settings, the energy you give off, the lingering you leave in the atmosphere, the aromatic perfume, as I said. I really hope that you can take these things and take these notes and begin to cultivate and grow yourself in the way that wherever I am and wherever I go, I leave a linger that lasts, and people will remember me by who I chose to show up and be. So thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and also hit the bell so you can get notifications of our next video, and also leave some comments so we can connect. I really want to know more of what you thought about this video, our second video. I definitely want to know what you felt and thought about this, and if this was actually beneficial to you. So let's go ahead and do a quick toast before you go. And just remember, this is going to be something that we do every time we come and meet. This is how we're going to end off our video, because I want to always give a toast to the woman you're becoming. May she be loved. May she be blessed. Know her worth and continue to glow. So see you next video. Bye.